Shout out to my boy Lance. His Instagram is ldv.company. That's his photography business. And his Instagram for his clothing brand, where I just display those pieces. Love determines values. Lance, that's my guy. That's my guy. That's my boy. He told me, hey man, I'm coming out with a little clothing line. His main thing is photography though.
Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host. My name is Q. As you can see, we have another interviewee in the building. And just to give a backstory on this one, if you follow me on Instagram at Cool Hand Pod, all one word, I posted on my Instagram story myself in the hoodie that I'm wearing today. And it says something. It says, love determines values. And I have that hoodie on, and I'm going to show it in a second. But how did I encounter love determines values? Well, if you are a regular consumer of Cool Hand Podcast content, I interviewed someone named Christian, and known as Pizzo, and he put me onto this brand. And he mentioned our guest today, and I'm excited to talk to our guest because he has some creative endeavors that he does, and he also is responsible for this high quality. Let me get this mic out the way. This high quality hoodie.
Gotta represent.
Got to represent all the way. This high quality hoodie, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But guest, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah. So my name's Lance Thomas, and thanks for having me on, man. It's a privilege. But yeah, as he said, owner of LDV, love determines values. That's the slogan. That's the name of the brand. But also that also describes my my photography too. So anything that I'm basically doing is relating to that LDV.
Lance, welcome to the Cool Hand Podcast.
Thank you.
All right, so Lance, you clearly have a connection with our last guest, Pizzo, and you are coming out of where are you live recording at?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta in the building. Shout out to Atlanta. Shout out to everybody down south. What's life? Are you originally from Atlanta?
Yeah, born and raised. Yeah.
Born and raised. Okay, you're hometown. So, what was life like growing up in Atlanta?
Oh man, it was cool. I had no worries. It just depends on where you live. So my neighborhood wasn't the best, but overall it was good. Parents were good, so they raised us up to do right, be good people, and and went to middle school, elementary school, and jumped around a couple bit. But yeah, Atlanta's nice. You've never been, you gotta come.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, if somebody never been to Atlanta before, what's a couple places they would have to go if you were a newcomer to Atlanta, if you're planning on going there this summer, winter, whenever?
Atlanta's changing a lot now, but the core places I would definitely say is you got to go to Underground. You got to see just the downtown Atlanta. You can hit a bunch of spots around there. You got to visit Five Points, Little Five Points. That's a cool spot. They got a lot of food, and it's a lot of just underground kind of art over there too. Especially that mural. If you've seen the Outcast mural, yeah, it's over there. That's where it's at too. So yeah, those are some spots. Food wise, you can go Fox Bros. You can go. It's a whole bunch, man. It's a whole bunch, just to say the least. But yeah, definitely, you can hit those spots.
All right, so you heard it from Lance. If you've never been to Atlanta, Georgia before, you need to get down there and check out those places that he just mentioned. Shout out to the people down south. So, growing up in Georgia, what did you guys do? What were you doing for fun, creatively, anything like that as a youngin'?
Oh man, definitely playing basketball. I grew up playing music. From piano to violin to being in the band, doing drums, cymbals, that kind, but really just playing outside. You know, I feel like anybody, like any other kid, you know, riding a bike, walking up and down the street, you know, running with friends and stuff. So
Hmm.
and football, you know, that's and a little bit of skateboarding too. So
Okay.
all, yeah.
So you were like an average kid, like going outside doing stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Not
Now,
locked. Stay
you
outside. Have fun until your parents tell you it's time to come in.
these new kids that they don't know nothing about that. They don't. They got Nintendos. That's how you know I'm old. They got Xboxes and
Dreamcast.
they got Xboxes and PS4s and Fortnite. So it's childhood is something you got to be outside for. But do you still play any of those instruments that you mentioned before?
No, not anymore. Yeah, I
Okay,
stopped years ago. But you never leaves you. You still know how to read music, and when you hear certain things, you're like, all right, I know. Yeah.
right. Now you do photography.
Hmm.
You do photography for a living.
Yeah. 100%.
Now, at what point did photography uh, come into play for you? When did you get an interest for it? How did this all come about?
Good question. So 2012 is when it kind of all started, and believe it or not, it was off of my phone.
Hmm.
That's how it started. Like I would take pictures, just landscape, whatever I saw off of my phone. But I never thought anything of it. I was just doing it. And then 2013, when I was in college, I took a class, and that class changed my whole perspective. It was a photography class, and we shot manual, and from there, I just fell in love with it. I, did a little recreation of Ansel Adams' work, some of his work in Yosemite Mountain. So kept that and wanted to keep growing, and here I am today. So years fast forward, it stuck with me, and it's been able to do me well. Yeah.
That's interesting. When you say manual, now I'm not a big camera person. I do use a camera to record my podcasts, but it's pretty sophisticated. I can do pretty much everything off of an automatic mode. So what I know, drawing that all together, I was watching a tutorial on how to use my own camera, the one that I have,
Yeah.
and um, long story short, I thought I'm just going to use these automatic settings.
Okay.
Using a camera on manual seems pretty challenging. So, what was the the education like on learning how to use a camera? Because cameras are sophisticated things, even the old school ones.
Yeah. 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 So it's pretty much, you got your triangle, you got your ISO, right? You got your aperture, you got your shutter speed, and so pretty much playing off of those three. When you're shooting on manual, that's when you bring in your focus. So for auto, which you're shooting on probably most of the time, auto, that's just automatic. So it's like driving a car automatic. Like you don't have to worry about shifting the gears. It
Hmm.
does it for you. So with the camera on, manual, you have to shift in the focus to get whoever you want in your sight, sharp. So for the most part, that going through class, it was learning those three things, those three triangles, right? That triangle, and then pairing that with getting your focus in. And once you learn it, it's way better than automatic. Like it's 10 times better, and your shots come out like beautiful. So yeah.
Now I'm going to rewind a little bit. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to rewind back to what you said about photography started on your phone.
Hmm.
Um, so we all have camera phones
Yeah.
these days. Everybody has a smartphone. But what about using your phone to take pictures drew you to photography? Because there's some people, they take pictures of the clouds, or you might find some people where on their phones they have nothing but selfies. So having that eye for photography just doesn't come natural to most people. So when did you really get a peak for that photography interest just using your phone? Like,
Yeah.
how did that come about?
Yeah. A lot of my friends at the time that I had when I was finishing up in high school, they were into photography or they were photographers. So a lot of them actually had cameras and I didn't have one. So I would kind of, piggyback off of them, watch them, and see what they would do with their cameras. And since I couldn't afford one at the time, I was like, all right, there's like, use your phone. And so I started using my phone, but I would look at, angles, and I would look at how the alignment would be of, say, certain buildings or landscape. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna try this on the phone. And a lot of people, every phone has this grid, right? That you can pull up on your phone if you choose to, where it can give you kind of alignment of pockets. You can see where you're setting things up to take the picture. And so that's what I did. I put that setting on my camera phone and just went around, and I would capture scenery. So a lot of my early on pics on Instagram were from my iPhone. So yeah.
Now, fast forward, going back to college, and you took this photography class, and you eventually ended up falling in love with photography. What were some of the biggest points that you took from taking that class? Things that maybe you never knew or never thought of before?
Editing. Definitely editing, because when I was on my phone, all I had was this app called PicsArt. And I was able, because that was before VSCO came out. So I was working strictly off of PicsArt, and it was pretty dope. I mean, you could do some cool things on there, and I would follow some people on there that was really good at editing and setting up different images. So I learned from there. But then, to answer your question, going into college and taking that class, really editing, because we had to edit our own pictures, whether black or white, or work on the tones, the yellow, the white balance, all that stuff, right? And then finally, also just learning how to capture fast moving objects like cars. So we would stand on the sidewalk for like one of our projects and have to capture a car and capture it in time to where it looks like it's not moving, so it's not blurry. And then we had to do long exposures where, say for instance, I'm sitting right here and you do a long exposure and you move a light going around me. If I stand still, you can capture that light that's moving around me. You won't see the person with that flashlight going around. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Learned a lot, and that's why I'm able to, I think it was led to my success a lot too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how long was that course that you took in college for photography?
Just a semester.
Just one semester. What was the education like post that class?
All me and YouTube friends. Yeah. So the class was just one semester. It wasn't long. Got in, but it wasn't like I didn't go to school for photography. I went to school for something totally different, and ended up having to take that as an elective. Took it, fell in love with it, and for me, it was strictly YouTube, following friends, going out and practice. You just gotta practice and go out and shoot anything, flowers, the sky, buildings, anything you see, just shoot it and just work on it. And then, from there, I got opportunities to do more work with different studios, and yeah, it kept growing.
What was your first camera? Your first, is it called a DSLR?
Yeah.
Okay, what was, if that's what you had? I don't want to assume that's what you got, but what was your first camera?
Yeah, it was a Canon T6. So it was basically what they call an amateur camera.
Okay.
When you start off, that's the camera that you usually start off with. It's either that or Nikon sells like this other camera that people start off with too. But Nikon is, yeah. So I don't, if anybody watching this has Nikon, hey, no shade, but yeah, Canon and Sony are way better. But other than that, started with Canon. And that was my first camera ever. Learned a lot on there, and I actually still have it.
Okay. And something else along the lines of the education, how important would you say to anyone out there who may be a photographer who's watching this, or somebody who's new to the genre, maybe watching this, or just anybody who doesn't know that much as you do, how important is editing to a picture?
It can make a break. But at the same point too, like editing can take your picture from here to here. It can get more eyes onto your image or whatever you shot, but also learning how to take a shot is going to save you more than editing will too. Because say if you take a shot and it's blurry, it's bad, not in focus, you know, you might trying to take a picture of something of a person and then you end up getting whatever in the background focused. So, you know, it comes out looking bad and you can't save it. I think also Photoshop, since coming out, a lot of people think you can work amazing wonders with Photoshop, and you can. But if you take a bad picture is a bad picture. So you have to take a good shot, and then your editing can make it even 10 times better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. What type of photos did you learn, or I don't know the correct terminology? What's the type of the type of things that you like to shoot,
Yeah.
and maybe what did you like to shoot coming up? Just take me through the journey of what you like to shoot, or if what you like to shoot changed over time with your education.
Oh, yeah, man. Definitely it did. From the start, it was all landscape. So I mentioned Ansel Adams like before. And so Ansel Adams is kind of like the father of photography, right?
Okay.
Landscape photography, right? So he was back shooting on those big cameras where, you know, it was all black and white, no color. So I had to recreate some of his work, and I fell in love with landscape. And I told myself, I was like, I'm only going to do landscape photography, architecture, and I'm only going to do real, you know, anything that's real estate too, right? But that's not true. When you first start out, it's hard to get a lot of, well, for me, it was hard to get a lot of paying jobs that would pay me for landscape unless you're selling prints. So I had to kind of migrate to portraiture, which is, you know, taking pictures of people. And that really has kept me afloat, taking pictures of people. And that's where I'm at now, is more so portraitures than landscape.
Okay. Now you said something that made me want to ask you this following question. Now, Ansel Adams, I've literally heard the name,
Yeah.
and that's where it stops. So
Yeah.
you just schooled me on who he was and what he did. But do you have any other influences when it comes to photography?
Yes, I do. A lot of my influences, there's a photographer, I can't remember her full name, but I know her last name is Green. But some amazing work she did was capturing animals up underwater, right?
Hmm.
So you've probably seen it, or someone's probably seen it, where there's a dog trying to get a tennis ball up underwater. Like, she would do things like that, and it was amazing work that she would take of animals. And so that's something that I like too. Um, I mean, you got some YouTube names, household names that's out there that's pretty dope that I pay attention to too. So yeah, you're always looking at somebody to learn from.
Got you. Now, we've talked about your education in school and what you've learned, how and what you like to shoot. But as you mentioned before, you didn't go to school for photography. You went to school for something else.
Yeah.
And we had chopped it up earlier in the week or a few days ago. And you recently went full time into the photography field.
Yeah.
And at what point in time did you think I can do this full time?
Last year, September.
Last September.
Last September. Because there was, so for like 2019, you know, I started my business and, you know, getting work here and there. Towards the end of the year, it was around summertime that I started, 2019 summertime. But to the end of the year of 2019, I started to get some traction. So I was like, okay, this is good. Then 2020 hit. In 2020, I was still working, but I still had, you know, work that I was doing on the weekends. So during the week, I was working full-time job. On the weekends, I'll do photography here and there. But I was like, you know what? I really, really want to make photography my whole, you know, career. I don't want to do anything else. Prayed about it, kept working on it. And finally 2020, like September time, that's when I was like, all right, I had a bunch of jobs come up, but I couldn't take them. I had like 7 jobs come up, but I couldn't take them because I was still working a full-time job with a crazy schedule. So I knew, I was like, all right, I know I can do this if I'm solo, not doing anything. But it wasn't the right time. So I still, I took another job, still working Monday through Friday, but I had my weekends off. The last job I didn't. So I'll have my weekends off. I'll do photography from September last year, every single weekend. Every single weekend from September up until July of 2021, I was working, doing photo shoots. So by that time, I was like, you know what? I think I'm good. I said, if I can take this leap, if I know I can make almost as what I would do in a week on the weekend, then I can go with it. So I was able to take that leap, prayed about it, and yeah, here we are.
Yeah, here you are. That's a big leap, man. That's a big I know with going into business for yourself, like there's just a lot of things you take into consideration. So congratulations. Yeah, congratulations on, doing your thing, finding something new and jumping into it after a while for a career. So let's talk about that too, because with photography, like, yes, you take pictures, there's an art to it, but
Yeah.
when you talk about turning it into a business,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother ball game. Like, that's a whole nother field, a whole nother landscape.
Right.
What was talk about going into business for yourself, things that you had to do, had to learn,
Yeah.
and realized about being your own boss.
Yeah. So thankful enough, I was able to work within a certain within a couple of positions that kind of gave me an idea of what it would be managing and overseeing certain, different departments and stuff. So that kind of gave me a knowledge of how I need to do things and what I need to pay attention to. And then on top of that, research on, getting a business license, research on getting a trademark, research on what business I want to be in, if it's going to be a LLC or so proprietorship. So doing all my research on that, then taking that further into uh, time and scheduling and what I can do and strategies of how am I going to get my name out there? How am I going to get people to see me and want to book with me? And a lot of it's word of mouth, honestly. A lot of it's word of mouth, and then other thing is promotion, marketing. So it all comes together and helps.
Mhm. How much business were you getting when you decided to go full time?
Um, so the minute I was going full time, I had interviewed with a studio that was just opening up in Atlanta, and that was back in March. And they brought me on to work with them. So I currently work with them like contract wise. So it's, you know, work with them probably a number of days out of the month. And then the other days I'm doing my own thing.
Okay.
So it's a combination of that and also but to answer your question, how much work am I getting? I'm I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm good. I can pay my bills and
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
need.
But it took a lot of planning. I think that's the one thing.
Yeah.
You mentioned all these what did they call it? Rock Nation brunch Twitter. Um with all these different things where LLC and trademark and this
Yeah.
and all of that stuff takes a lot of work. So it's not
No.
if there's any, I don't know if any young people watch this, but like, you just don't hop into it. There's a lot of work that
This
gets put into these things.
yeah,
Um,
this was a dream and a plan since 2016. So,
okay.
starting 2013, that was just the light bulb. They're like, oh, maybe I want to do this, but
Mhm.
then it just progressed. So it wasn't an overnight thing, and finally, it just now it's starting to really, really pan out to be what I expected it or wanted it to be.
You put in the work. So nowadays, when you take your jobs for people, somebody might hit you up. What type of work do you do now for your photography?
Yeah, weddings, engagements, family shoots, maternity, newborn. The list goes on. If you need, what's something I've done recently that, oh, business content too. So say if you're, someone has a business and they need some headshots or they need some clothing shots for their brand, or if they need a video, right? I'll provide that, whether they do lashes, hair. So the list goes on. Studio work. If they want an indoor studio, I do that too. So pretty much everything, man, you name it. But I prefer, and I've done real estate too, but I prefer weddings in real estate. That's where I prefer. Graduation, forgot to say that.
Graduations as well. You can see some of these photos, some of the things that Lance just mentioned on Instagram at ldv.company. That's ldv.company. So search him up on Instagram and you can see some of his work. He has a lot of work on here that you can get a nice sample of. So you do these things, and I want to talk about something like for weddings or graduations and things like that. I had one of my homeboys from the DMV on once, and he's a DJ, and we talked about pricing.
Yeah.
He talked about people don't realize how much
Yeah.
equipment and work goes into curating a set for your wedding or party or whatever for a DJ, talking about pricing. So, you know,
I already know.
so because you're your own business, right? So when it because I don't think people realize how much, even myself, I don't know how much all these services cost. So when it comes to pricing,
Yeah.
can you talk about what goes into paying for your services?
Yeah. So I look at it like this, how to give an example. If anybody comes out, if you go to a business and you're like, hey, I need this, and this as a service, you go to get your car done. They take into effect their equipment, their time, labor, right? All of that. So with photography, just know when I'm coming out to you, my camera costs about $1,000. So that's like, just knowing that off rip. And then you have to factor in the editing, my software that I'm using to edit. I'm paying a monthly price for my software. I'm paying a price to drive out there for gas. You're paying depending on what it is. And then if you need lights, because I do have external lights that I bring too, that's $200, $300 right there. Stands, that's $150. My lenses can go up to $700 or more. So it's kind of like, for what your DJ, your friend that was a DJ saying, is the fact that we're even giving you a price of $200 is extremely reasonable. If whatever job it might be, if say, we charge you $185 or we charge you $200, that's extremely reasonable compared to what we could charge you because of our equipment, because of our travel, because of our editing, because of this and this and this. And also, it's the expertise that we have coming out to perform that job. It's not like we're just picked up a camera today, or we're shooting on our Android or iPhone.
Right.
We worked on this for years. So, but yeah, a lot of people, they don't see that and they don't know that side, and that's understandable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it gives perspective when you talk about that, the equipment. It definitely gives perspective. I know for myself, like getting into the stuff that I'm into, like the podcast stuff, I didn't realize how much mics cost, mic stands, webcams, this, that, the other. Like, things are expensive and they take maintenance too. So especially like a camera, your lenses, these expensive lenses, they're delicate. You don't want to drop anything. You might be paying insurance on certain items. Like, there's a lot of things that people don't see that are involved in your field. And so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, man. Thanks for asking. That was a great question.
Oh, sure.
Good question, man.
So I have some more business questions too, just like some general business questions, because photography is something you love.
Yeah.
You profit off of it, but it's still work, and you still work with pretty much the public. Your services are available. So when it comes to a client,
Mm-hmm.
how important is the communication? Let's just say my wife and I, we want to have like a photo shoot
Yeah.
for our anniversary or whatever, and you know, at a park or something. I don't know. I'm just
Right.
going off the top.
Right.
How important is the communication? Because I'm sure you might have taken pictures that are great, and
Yeah.
then people get them back and they're like, this isn't what we really wanted. Have you ever had one of those situations?
Oh yeah, 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 100%. I can't sit up here and say I've gone through my journey and never had a bad experience. It happens, that's the process of growing. But the cool thing is you learn from it. And so communication, literally from whenever someone contacts me to the time we do the shoot and I send them the pictures, I'm on the phone with them. I'm
Okay.
texting them, talking to them. I'm like, hey, what is your idea? Because if you look on my Instagram, you'll see in the header it says creating and capturing every dream. So whatever you have that you want to create or capture, that's what I'm here for. So you're my client and I got to make sure that I make everything happen for you so you're happy. So if there's something that I can edit a different way, I'm going to do it to the best of my degree, but like you also know that you're coming to me just like you would go to a barber for the way that he cuts, or someone how he paints. You go to him for how he paints. So you come to me because you know this is the style that I'm going to give you. And for with that being said, it communication is a big part. Customer service plays in anything that you do. So I'm always, what can I do? How can I help? You know.
Mm. What are some of the highs
Yeah.
of being in business with photography, and maybe some of the struggles that you had to go through?
Yeah. One, not knowing. It's always an unknown. Like you never know with any business. I feel like you don't know what the following month may bring, or you don't know what the following 3 months may bring, or next year. But all you can do is just plan for what you have going on. And there's a lot of uncertainty, man. Like it happens when you look at your calendar like, yeah, we kind of dry this month. but if you just stay patient, stuff will come up and you'll be able to get what you need. And then from there, it'll escalate, and it's always you take care of people and do what's right, then they'll take care of you. And I've definitely had some moments where I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make as much as I need to meet my quota. But yeah, it always pans out.
Mm-hmm. Now, we talked about the photography,
Yeah.
which is your main. That's your main thing. That's your job, your full time. But also, I got this fly hoodie on, this high quality hoodie, and you got that shirt on. Now, I don't know, I don't own the shirt, but I think it's high quality because it's all the same brand, which is love determines values.
Mm-hmm.
Now, initially, when I first got up with you and we connected, I thought I was just going to be talking about love determines values clothing.
Yeah.
But there was much more to what you do. But now we're going to talk about love determines values clothing.
Yep.
Now, where did this come from? Where did it come from?
Oh man, 2016, literally that was the year. But before then, 2015, I was planning it out. So originally, LDV was gonna be a mixture of mine, my first initial along with some other family members' initials, and I was gonna make a brand for my family because I wanted it to be something that we can take further and take down the line. But I started to, things started to change, so I was like, all right, let me come up with a different name, but I wanted to keep LDV because my name's Lance, and then so it just kind of I wanted to play around with some words, and at the time I was helping my mom, I wanted to have her name in there, but it was hard to make it work. So I was like, all right, let me go to Google. So I went to Google and I said, I searched up letter or words that start with L, words that start with D, and words that start with V. And I wanted to make it to where it was something that resonated with my personality and also what I believe in, right? So I said, okay, I found love, and I was like, if you're doing something in life, you gotta love it. And I knew if I'm doing photography or clothing, I gotta love it. D for determination, gotta be determined to always do it. And then value, it just shows your love and your determination reflects how much you value it. So all that coupled together pretty much is how I explain what I do for photography and also what it means for the clothing. Like everything I want to do in life, if I show love and determination for it, you'll see how much I value it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So LDV, originally a family affair, turned into what we have today.
Yeah.
So LDV. So how did the designs, the logo, because what people can't see, you got to go on the website.
I got a hoodie. I can show the back of it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. And then you guys probably see the sleeve, show love on there, something positive.
Right.
And then you got the front as Q was showing. So that's just a black hoodie. Also got an orange hoodie too. And people can see that on the website. But yeah, it's the design process, literally Illustrator.
Okay.
Adobe Illustrator, sitting down because I'm about to, if I can, I'll go on a small little tangent.
Please.
Yeah. Okay. So how this all came about was my mom went to school for fashion and design. So growing up, I would always go with her to get, fabric or yarn or look at colors, get sketchbooks, all that different stuff, and look at clothing. So, taking all that and drawing, and I drew all the time, sketched. I learned how to create things and draw things by seeing it, but also just imagination. So fast forward now, I knew I always wanted to do a clothing brand growing up because I was in middle school, and they asked us to draw some sneakers, but to design it in a way that was that connected to a sport that you loved. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna design some Converse, because at the time I was in love with Converse, and I was like, I'm gonna design them with the NBA kind of feel. So I drew like 3 pairs of sneakers, and I put Boston on there. I put Memphis Grizzlies, and I can't remember the last one, but those were the 2 that I stuck out to me because I just liked the colors at the time. So I created that, drew that out, and then fast forward now to where we are. Like I got on Illustrator, learned how to work it, and so every design that you see is all created by me and taking the time to draw it out on paper and then put it into the computer and sketch it out.
And you know what? When you order from LDV, you get a sticker. So a sticker, speaking of that logo, so you do get a sticker with that logo on it, so you could put it on notebook, laptop, whatever. So and by the way, the hoodie is high quality. If I can give a quick review, that it's high quality. I got a nicely written note with my I'm dead serious. This is great customer service. This is called engagement. A big word on social media is engagement, but this is real life engagement. So I got a nice letter, welcome to the family, welcome to the LDV. I appreciate your support. So thank you for the note and the sticker. So
appreciate it. I had no idea when you ordered. I was like, Q. I was like, but I, down the line, man, here we are, and finally, met you and chopped it up with you, and I appreciate you purchasing. So it's in support because
yeah,
the hoodie, like you were saying, the hoodie's thick cotton. So that's another thing too, is when I was designing, I don't like cheap fabric. I don't like anything that's not good quality. So I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, I got to make sure all the quality that I'm selling people or they're going to purchase is not just the design. They're also going to be like, hey, this feels good.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to last for a while. I can throw this on and feel comfortable, So it's just, yeah, always needed to have that there too. So that's another, add on to the design and clothing.
Yeah. Now, did you get that from your mom from growing up with her and in the whole
Oh yeah.
fabric game?
Oh, I remember feeling fabric, going to the different stores, and looking at coats. My mom and my family's from Boston, so that's why I'm big on winter clothing. I'm not a summertime person. Like, I like it, but I prefer a nice bubble coat, a nice overcoat, jacket, hoodie, something that, even, pants too. I prefer those too over it because it just, or a nice Scully hat, those type of things because it just reflects who I am.
Mm-hmm. Now I've been rocking with you this whole time up until that winter part. Living in Georgia for about 7 years, I will take a Georgia winter over a up north winter.
100%. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm not looking forward. It's getting colder up here. If I didn't have to drive in snow, then I would love the winter. I would love it. But shout out to all 4 seasons. We
4 seasons.
it's shout out to all 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
But when I like this fall weather. This is perfect for the hoodie. You can still wear your hats. And speaking of which, let's talk about all the things that you make for LDV.
Okay.
What are all the products that we can find on your website?
Yeah, so right now, shirts and hoodies. Definitely, we got colors of red, blue, as you see right here, black, and yellow. It's kind of like a gold honey mustard yellow. But it's nice, good quality. It looks good, and what you'll see is it's kind of deceptive on the back. The logo on the back is like a kind of like a glowing holographic kind of. So it's a shimmer to it when you see it on the light that you won't even see. So, all right, so those two, and then my wife and I, we just dropped the ladies' clothing. So give me 1 second. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Grab this real quick.
He's about to show love to the ladies. That's the thing. LDV doesn't just drop clothing for the fellas. We got it all.
Got it all. Gotta have it all. So, like I said, man, it's all winter. We love winter. So I'm gonna show these real quick.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
These, so y'all can see them. So got the tan jacket, right? On the inside. Nice quality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love the terms values on the patch. Keeps you warm. This also buttons up, right? And it's a zipper. So
I didn't even know y'all had this stuff. This is new to me.
Yeah, man. It's in the cool, like, so we did a pre-sale on it back in September, like the end of September. But after I did the pre-sale, we took it down. Mm-hmm. So now everything's in stock and we're about to start shipping out to those who ordered and anybody else who wants to order. So here's the black version of it. Got the same thing on the side, the patch, love the terms values. Same thing. And the cool thing about this is it has drawstrings, right? So it's a crop top anyway, too. So if you want to, hem it up, you can. Mm-hmm. Ladies can do that. And if you go to our Instagram, I know you'll shout it out in a minute, but the actual, for the clothing brand, the Love Determines Values was love.determines values on Instagram. But yeah, on there, you'll see my wife posing in it and everything. And here's the joggers, right? And that's the meaning right there. Your love determines what you value. What you love determines what you value. So, and here's a tan. Yep. So.
Oh, ladies, you can't miss out on these ladies. It's getting cold.
Yeah.
It's getting cold. Yeah. You gotta bundle up. So why not bundle up and a clean, ethical, morally sound brand?
Yes. Morally sounding. And on top of that, quality.
Right. Like Love Determines Values. So Like Lance said a little earlier. You could find this page on Instagram, love.determines.values.
Yep.
On Instagram, love.determines.values.
Listen there too. Last thing, the 3-piece of it is a bodysuit. So
Oh man,
you want to throw on this, nice little turtleneck. Got the love determines values right there. It's all a minimal, simplistic feel to it. So you can wear this with sneakers. You can wear this with heels. You can go out to the grocery store. But wait, there's more. You can go to work. You can go to the bank. You can go out for a night for some fun. Get a meal. Pull up to the drive-through in it. Whatever you want to do, you can chill at home with it.
Versatile.
Right,
versatile brand. Now you have a lot of products, as we just saw.
Yeah.
This is crazy because what goes into finding like the codes, like you get these shipped to you from a third party. You design it, but another party makes it or puts the patches on. So how do you find the right material, the right build or trim, however you want to call it, and determine what you want to use for your brand?
Yeah, man. It's a lot of, like you said, searching, research, right? So a lot of people I go through, whether it's here in Atlanta or in the US or not, I fine tune comb through and figure out what the quality is of it. Like I read everything and then I'll go through and I'll look at the sizing, and some sizing might not be, especially for women. Oh, this was the toughest time. Like I say, this was by far the hardest project creating because I don't know, I'm a guy, my size is nowhere close to women's size. And so I'm having to figure out like what falls into a small for a jacket, what falls into large for jogger pants, even the bodysuit. So, and then, you get that nervous feeling in your gut. You're like, if I put this out, is it going to fit? So but I took a long time with it. Faith and I, my wife, we took a long time with it and just kind of looked at all the sizing. I got a little measuring tape. I measure everything, and I made sure, and we order samples and then we'll order the full on after. So yeah. And yeah, man, that's what goes into it.
Okay. Yeah. It's something I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna have to get me a shirt. I went for when it gets a little warmer. I wear shirts on the inside, but anyway, we got to buy some more from LDV. Now you had dropped a snippet, so to speak, and
I already know.
you know where I'm going with this. You dropped a snippet.
Yeah.
As if it was music, because when I saw this picture, it was music to my ears.
Yeah.
Of this crazy hat. Now, for people who know me, they know I like to wear hats. My haircut is fading, but my next podcast I'll likely have a hat on because that hairline's going to grow back. So I wear hats a lot. In real life and on this show. So I'm a hat person, and you dropped this preview of this fire hat. It was crazy. It was, can you explain that? You know what I'm talking about. So I'd rather you talk about it.
I'll do you one even better. I got it in person. Oh. Yeah, man. So it's all right. Before I bring it out. So I had this idea to do, like you said, hats and everything for a while. This was dating back to 2020 that I wanted to do hats, and I was going to drop it in 2021, but here I am now, just getting to it. So my wife is from Detroit. I'm from Atlanta. So I wanted to create hats that represented both cities. And I was like, I want something that's going to pop too. So, I sat in the lab, I actually got an illustrator, and I was like, let me start drawing this out and creating this. So no further ado, here you go. So this is it. That's it right there.
I need some sound effects for this one.
You need the boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
That's what we need in the background. We need to drop some sounds like,
Yeah, I need some sound effects.
But yeah, this is it. This is the hat. to say the least, basically. So thinking about it, Detroit, right? Detroit, the Tigers. If you know their alternate colorway, they're kind of like I think it's their home colorway. It's kind of like a white and a navy blue.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to do white, and this is kind of like a beige cream, right? I didn't want to do white because white gets too dirty, obviously. So, but the design, as you see it, that's the L, that's the Detroit D, so for determines, right? And then the V's right there for values. So it all comes together, LDV. And just like when you see all of the other designs on, say, the hoodie or the hat, I always got my plus sign in there, right? Bringing it all together.
Mm-hmm.
On this side, originally, this was supposed to be a fitted, right? This was supposed to be a fitted. I made my hand in there. This is supposed to be a fitted. And I was going to have this on the back.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided to go snapback. And you see the English D right there. Threw that on there. And then that's just the original logo, right? So boom. So yeah, this is it.
Yeah, you see the way that fits?
Clean. Too clean.
Yeah.
So this is 2022, probably spring, summertime. I don't know, but the Atlanta hat, I gotta go crazy.
Yeah.
Just got to the World Series. So
right, exactly. Right.
Yeah. And I got a design for that too. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be real nice. I think a lot of people are gonna like it.
Listen, in the words of T.I., an Atlanta native, I need them hats to drop expeditiously. Expeditiously.
I got you.
So yeah, whenever those drop, you already know I gotta have me one of each. So stay tuned for those too, everybody. The LDV hats. He's putting in a lot of work. Everything that you just showed, from the hoodies, the shirts, to the clothing for the females. Yeah. There's a lot of time, effort. When you look on the Instagram page, you can see that his wife, when she's modeling these things, these aren't just like some pictures taken with your phone. Like this looks like it's in a studio taken with professional equipment. So time, money, and effort is put into it.
Man, tired. Going to work like
mm-hmm. So these things can't be taken for granted. So I think that's all the questions that I have, like the basic questions that I have. Is there anything that you would just like to say about any of those topics, or anything that you just want people to know, whether it's about you or your brand or photography or whatever?
Yeah. I'll start with the brand. There's a lot of things coming, for 2022, summertime, not just the hats, right? So I got some other stuff that I'm working on, different designs. But yeah, you guys are going to like it. If you're tuning in and see this, you're going to see more good designs, because everything is curated so that way it looks fun. It looks nice, and it looks stylish too. So but other than that, to know about me, man, I'm simple. I play basketball. Well, I need to. I need to get out there and start working out some more. Quarantine got me. But other than that, I'm a simple guy, real, just like to communicate, talk, like to create, design, have fun. My wife and I, we really work on this branding and the photography, and took a long time, but everything's coming together. And if anybody got any questions that's interested in photography or clothing or anything, you can always reach me on the Instagrams that he shouted out, whether that's my photography page or my clothing page, and just ask me any question. I'll answer. I'll help you out, because I know it's a lot of people who probably want to get into it, but they don't know where to go or how to start it. And I've gone through the thorns and needles, so I can assist you, so that way you can, hopefully you don't have to get pricked as I did. So
yeah, and that's big, really, because we'll talk for these interviews last for an hour or so, but your whole journey isn't, it's not that quick. As you said before, things started in 2013 with the thought of photography, then 2016 when it came to the clothes. So years and years of hard work, and like you said, going through the thorns, you might get cut up, scratched, pricked, but these things are possible with the hard work. So uh, uh, any shout outs, any last minute shout outs, support system people you want to throw out there?
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to my wife, Faith. Shout out to you. Q, appreciate you for this.
Oh, thank you.
Shout out to my boy Pizzo for even connecting us and putting us to be able to do this. Real good guy, man. He really is. And a lot of my friends out there. I'm thankful, man, to even come on here and chop it up with you and just talk about it. So
yeah, thank you for coming on. This was fun. Fun.
Good.
I was tired. Coming home. I'm like, man, all right, let me set up and everything. But I had fun.
Hey, look, you could have told me we could have took a coffee break or something.
I'm up. But Lance, thank you. Thank you for coming on. You're always welcome back. Check them out. LDV, the company, LDV, for some photography. Check out the Instagram page. You're gonna like what you see. All the work that's been put into these things. I think you'll like the results when you work with Lance.
Yep,
so,
and I travel, all the above.
So he's pulling up. So this is the Cool Hand Podcast. Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Easy.
Sure.
And that's it.
Yeah, man. Nice. Appreciate it, man. That was cool. I like the questions.
Oh, thank you. You know what?